It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview one of the four business owners of a sports podcast called Jersey Swap. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Brandon?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that y'all wanted to start a sports talk podcast?
Yeah. So, my name's Quinn. I'm one of the 5 members. There's 4 other ones actually that couldn't be here today. We got really busy lives, and so we originally we wanted to start this because we always would hang out in my basement where I am right now, and we'd watch NFL games, NBA games, all these different sports games, and just bicker at each other and constantly argue and say this player's like the best, or and someone would say no, and then it would start this whole like hour long sort of argument. And we really wanted to channel that positively instead of being instead of continuing to be toxic to each other. We wanted to really channel that, and we thought that if we were to sit down in sort of a like calm environment and really kind of constructively argue and talk about stuff, that would be a great way to sort of show people what we know about sports.
Can you talk about how you came up with the name, the Jersey Swap?
Yeah. So honestly, it was right like all over my room, everyone kind of laying around, and you ever see those movie scenes where people are just laying down like throwing a ball at themselves and just like thinking. It was all of us just like sitting down like, okay, we need a name now because we wanted to start, but obviously you really can't start without a sort of a solid name. So we were just panned all across my room like, what about this, what about this, what about this. So I actually have some of the names that we considered. One of them was Punting is for Pussies, like a football podcast, which we thought would have been funny. We had like 5 guys on a couch. We had like all these sort of these different names that, looking back on it, are funny now, but were seriously considered back then. So we didn't really settle on Jersey Swap. We kind of just, someone said it and kind of sparked everybody like, yeah, I kind of like that actually.
How did y'all come up with y'all's logo design?
So originally for Jersey Swap, obviously you need a jersey in the logo. So originally when we first started, we had a logo. It was just one jersey, and it had like Jersey Swap as the name, and it had a number 5 for the 5 people that were in it. And we had it for probably about a month. We started back in October of 2020. So we had it probably up until, I would say, late November, early December. And we finally decided like, it doesn't bring out who we are. It just, it's just a jersey, and you kind of can't like grasp what it is from that logo. So actually, one of the guys we have on the podcast, Christian Avedessa, he was like, we were going to pay someone to do it. And he said, let me try to do something. So he cooked up that logo. And if you really look at it, you can kind of tell if you listen to our podcast and watch our YouTube videos, who is who in the picture, because, I'm wearing a Pirates hat. Jude's wearing a Yankees hat, and people are passing different jerseys. And so it's really more of an interactive logo. And we thought it would be better if someone saw it for the first time, have a better idea what we're about and kind of who we like, and if they want to follow us or not.
What are some things that y'all talk about on y'all's podcast, the Jersey Swap?
So we have a lot of things in common, but some not. So all 5 of us love the NFL. So the NFL is sort of our main, in season. NFL is like probably 75% of what we talk about. I would say probably like 3/5 of the group are big NBA fans, but the other 2, the numbers start to dwindle down as you go with sports. Baseball, probably, I would say 3 of us still, and hockey, it's really only me. So we talk about the four major sports. We're actually trying to get into more women's sports and sports that people may be more interested in, sort of lower level sports. But yeah, mainly the NFL because the interest is there from everybody. The five of us really love it. All have our favorite teams and stuff like that. And some of the other sports, it's not really as common that we like it all. So we talk about it all, but mostly NFL, and we love doing it. So
Who are some of the people that are notable that you have interviewed for your podcast?
yeah, so we actually just started interviewing. I believe we had our first interview a month ago. So we interviewed our first interview was a month ago. We did Jalen Henderson. He was a quarterback at Boise State University. He was a very nice guy. He actually works in finance now. So he sat down with us. We had a great talk with him actually. This morning, actually at 7 a.m., Aaron, the other guy on the podcast, Aaron Buckley and I hopped on a Zoom with Freddie Mcswain Jr. He played basketball at Indiana University. He plays professionally in Finland now. We're trying to get a lot more athletes, and we're trying to branch off into different sports. If people are getting bored of football ones, we want to do like MMA one or a baseball one or stuff like that. And we have more people that we're trying to get on. One thing that we actually do that we think is pretty cool. We use this app. I don't know if you ever heard of it. It's called Yoke, and it's where you sign up, kind of earn these coins, and you can play video games with professional athletes, and it sort of puts you on a FaceTime with them. So we've been on FaceTimes with them before, playing like NBA 2K or Madden, and just talking about our podcast, and the guys want to come on and want to have a conversation with us. So that's kind of a tool we use as well, and what we're going to use in the future to kind of get more guests.
Who are some of the future guests that you plan on having on your podcast?
Yeah, so we've been in talks with a few current NFL players. One guy that said he would come on in the next week or so, he just got back from vacation, was Trevor Wallace-Sims. He's a rookie guard for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to be protecting Trevor Lawrence next year, so that'll be very cool. And then we've also been in contact with Akeem Davis of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's also rookie linebacker. So we got some guys lined up, and hopefully when we do more interviews, they have friends and it'll just kind of branch off. So we're starting off small right now, but hopefully it'll get bigger.
Can you talk about, of course, how you go about getting some of the NFL people that you have on? Because I know personally for me, I've had to talk to their publicists and maybe their manager and stuff and kind of work out details along that line.
Yeah, so we haven't really gone that route yet. Honestly, we just do, it's either the Yoke and they say like, oh, I want to come on. Can you DM me? And it'll be a direct DM. And sometimes it's just like a DM, just saying like, hey, we want to just pick your brain for a little bit. But so do you sort of like in their bio when it says like business inquiries, is that what you sort of like email that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think we've done that like once or twice, but we should probably, start doing that more. But honestly, right now it's just been like direct DMs. So
what are some of the segments that you have on the Jersey Swap podcast?
Oh goodness. So we have a lot of people with a lot of different opinions, and one of the people with the strongest opinions is Jude Abadesco. I don't know if you've ever heard of him before. He actually won the 2016 Little League World Series, and he's on our show. And he has his own segment called JR's Hot Take of the Week because Jude has these hot takes that anybody would think like, what is he talking about? And somehow he's always right. Always, it's just crazy. We have we give out game balls of the week for different sports. Athletes that have performed. On our Instagram, we do. I don't know if you saw one of our last posts. We do like the face swap, the jersey swap with the NBA players who played well the night before. We do a bunch of stuff like that. We get special guests on. We have people from around the community that actually, come into my basement and we talk. And so we do a bunch of segments like that, a lot of hot takes. And yeah, that's pretty much what we do. And then we do a lot of recaps. We talk about a lot of recaps. So
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know beforehand starting a sports podcast?
oh man. Something that I would tell the group or sort of just myself.
Either.
Myself probably to just at first engage more people. Like we would go on Instagram and post, but we really wouldn't follow other people or like their stuff or send them DMs or support. So I think a lot of it now, what we're realizing as we're growing right now is engaging with other people, coming on shows like yours and making connections and making friends is going to go a long way to what we want to do. Myself, probably that just to have some patience. I think at first everybody thinks that they're just gonna take off and whatever, and I think my hopes were a little high for the very beginning because it was a slow start, but now that it's actually picking up very good steam, I think that I would have told myself to just be patient. I'm working with 4 guys that I love to work with. They're great guys. They're very hard workers like myself. So yeah, just to sort of be patient for myself and then to just engage more for the group.
What is the process like to figure out time schedules for your podcast, as you are a podcast with 4 guys on it?
Yeah. So we do the podcast every single Tuesday night. So in New York State, because of COVID, so we have 3 kids in high school, and myself and another kid are freshmen in college. So the 3 that are in high school in New York State, well, at our school district, I guess. So New York State, you can only do school four times a week now. So at the school district that they go to, they have Wednesdays off. They go to, it's like A through M or A through N or whatever is, they go in person Monday, Tuesday. Then there's a break on Wednesday where nobody has school. And then the M through Z go Thursday, Friday. So those 3 don't have school Wednesday. So Tuesday night's sort of like a Friday or Saturday night to them. And then myself and Christian, who are in college, our schedules are very flexible where, we have classes in the afternoon or where we can stay up late. And so Tuesday night is when we do it, and we post every Wednesday, and it's worked great so far. We've honestly really haven't had like a huge schedule conflict yet.
What are some of your future plans with the Jersey Swap podcast?
So like we talked about before, we definitely want to bring on more guests. We love, having athletes on and other podcasters and stuff like that. Definitely growing more on Instagram. I think Instagram's a great tool. And just sort of kind of what we thought of is sort of when you do an interview, kind of not attack, but go towards the people that are going to watch it with that certain athlete. So, if it's the Freddie McSwain who went to Indiana, maybe like send the link to the YouTube to, people that like Indiana basketball, or, target people from what you've done, and that, will help us grow as well. Honestly, right now it's, we're actually starting to make some money from it, which is obviously not our goal. That's not why we started this. So I don't want that to get twisted up at all. But definitely like an upgrade in equipment. I mean, our podcast, since there's 5 of us, we have a mic and we have, we're circled around, and sometimes, people like lean back and you can't hear them as well, or they're really close like this, so I think, everybody getting their own mics, having a soundboard, doing better editing on YouTube, just kind of technical improvements that'll come with making money, and then that will hopefully improve audio and have more people listen.
What advice would you give upcoming future sports talk podcasts looking to get started?
So honestly, like what I told myself with the patience thing, patience is huge. I feel like you have to just work extremely hard. We've been working extremely hard since October. We honestly have not stopped. We've released an episode every single week. We've done YouTube for the past 2 months. You're not going to really take off at first, but you just got to be consistent with it. You got to set schedules on when you want to post and what you want to do, because if you say you're growing in followers, if you just stop posting, that could turn people off and turn them away. So if you're constantly engaging with them, constantly posting and just working hard, it's a lot of work. When we do the podcast, we got everybody talking, and then I edit the podcast, and we do YouTube videos, and we have Christian and Aaron edit YouTube, and we have Jude working on TikTok, and Rocco's making edits for, everybody is kind of flashing around, but we all come together and it's going really well. So just a lot of patience and a lot of hard work for someone that's looking to start one. And also, just start one. I think the hardest thing for people these days is, saying the phrase, I'm gonna. And we were sick of saying we're going to, we want to, we just did it. It's very easy. You can find apps out there, find websites out there. It's very easy. You just got to do it. You got to stop with the what ifs and the we're gonna, and you just got to do it.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find the Jersey Swap podcast at on social media and podcast platforms?
Yeah. So, honestly, the main tool for finding us is on Instagram, and that's just Jersey Swap Podcast. We have a link in our bio. We have a link tree. So we have our website. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on everything. But if you find the Instagram, which is where we found Brandon, actually, thank goodness, made a nice friend on Instagram. That link in the bio has everything in it, and it's honestly great that we're on everything, but everything starts at the Instagram. If you find the Instagram, if you click the link in our bio, everything is spread out and it's very easy to find in there.
Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck with your podcast, The Jersey Swap.
Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate you having me on, and we got to get you on sometime, my brother.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at @talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.